when we're talking about, and we're talking about personal bankruptcy here, we're talking about people, married couples, I guess, what are the types of bankruptcy?
Well, every individual has the opportunity to file a Chapter 7 or Chapter 13 case. They're designed very differently, and they're used to achieve different objectives usually.
Okay. Let's start with Chapter 7, and then we'll go to Chapter 11. Unless you think we should start with Chapter 11 and go to Chapter 7.
Well, I think we should start with Chapter 7 because usually the goal of every single individual, whether you own a business or not, whether you live on Social Security or you have a job, or regardless of your situation, usually the goal of every individual walking into my office is to file a Chapter 7.
Okay.
And there are several reasons for that.
Okay.
One, it is infinitely shorter than every other chapter you can file. It wipes the slate clean. It forgives you of all of your debt. There is no repayment plan. And most importantly, it costs significantly less in attorney's fees. Okay. So if you can get in and out of a bankruptcy in 90 days and pay your lawyer half as much as you would otherwise, that is usually the goal of everybody who walks in.
Of course.
Chapter 13 is designed for individuals who don't qualify for Chapter 7.
Okay.
Or who have fallen behind on house or car payments and want to keep their house or car.
I gotcha. Okay.
So when you file a bankruptcy, every single debtor has to file what's called a means test.
Okay.
It's basically an income qualifying test. It takes 6 months worth of your income, averages it out, multiplies it by 12. That gives us your annual income.
Okay.
There is a median income level for every county in every state.
Okay.
And if your income is below the median income level for a household of your size in your county, you would automatically qualify for a Chapter 7 case.
Okay.
So if you're current on your house and car payments and you're below the median income level, it's pretty easy for you to just file a Chapter 7, wipe the slate clean, get your fresh start.
Okay.
If you are above the median income level, it doesn't mean you don't qualify for a Chapter 7. What it means is you don't automatically qualify for a Chapter 7.
Okay.
So what we have to do with your income qualifying test then, when I explain it to my clients, I usually explain it as though you're filing, it's the difference between filing a 1040 EZ for your tax return and a full 1040 and itemizing your deductions.
Okay.
If you're over the median income level, you got to itemize your deductions.
Gotcha.
So we go in and we take out all the expenses we possibly can, and we pull everything we can out of your income. And at the end of this test, it spits out this magic number called your disposable income. If you don't have any disposable income, you qualify for a Chapter 7. You get your discharge, you go on your merry way.
Okay.
If you have some disposable income, though, you do not qualify for a Chapter 7, and you're required to file a Chapter 13 plan.
Okay.
The Chapter 13 cases in those situations are designed for people to restructure their car loans so that they can pay back a little bit of unsecured debt. So your car loans get restructured. If you had a loan on, let's say you went to rent a center and you were renting a couch and you owed a debt, or you owed some money to Nebraska Furniture Mart and they took a security interest in your couch, or whatever it is that you purchased.
Okay.
Those sorts of things you can restructure in a plan. And then it sort of cuts you a break so you can pay some of your unsecured debt. Now, most people aren't going to pay all of their unsecured debt back in a Chapter 13, which is what a lot of people think.
Yeah.
But for example, if you owed $100,000 in credit card debt and your disposable income plan said you could afford to pay back $100 a month, you pay back $100 a month for 5 years, which is a total of $6,000. And at the end of that plan, you're still going to get the same discharge you would have gotten in a Chapter 7 case, but you only get it at the end of your Chapter 13 plan.
Okay.
So you pay back $6,000, you get a discharge of the other 94.
Okay. Is on the Chapter 13, is that 5 years set in stone? Is that like
No, that's another great question. So a confirmable plan can run anywhere between 36 months and 62 months.
Okay.
So the trustee's office will confirm a plan if it's running a little bit long, 62 months. What the law does not allow you to do is what we call indentured servitude.
Right.
And it won't let you just hang out in a bankruptcy forever.
Yeah.
You have to complete within 5 years. You have to make your payments on time. And what sometimes happens with Chapter 13 cases is if you fail to make a payment, all of a sudden your plan that was running 60 months is now running 61. And then if you fail to make another payment, now your plan starts to run long.
Okay.
So depending on how many payments you miss,
Right.
all of a sudden your payment has to go up in order to complete within the statute of limitations,
Okay.
as a lot of people would like to call it.
Okay.
The really cool thing about Chapter 13, there's a couple of really cool things about Chapter 13s. And although they are significantly more expensive than a Chapter 7 case, they require a lot more time. They require a lot more work. I mean, you're hiring an attorney for anywhere between 3 and 5 years.
Okay.
So it's going to cost more.
Yeah.
But number one, in a Chapter 13 case, typically your lawyer is only going to require you to pay a minimal retainer fee. And then they get paid all their attorney's fees through your Chapter 13 plan. So every month when the trustee cuts your creditors a check to pay your car loan or your mortgage, they're going to cut me a check for my attorney's fees.
That's good to know.
So I only require a $500 retainer fee.
Okay.
Plus the filing fee to be paid up front.
Right.
And then the rest of my fees are paid through the plan.
Okay.
Now that situation might differ depending on, again, the complexity of your case, or if there were special circumstances. If your house is getting sold next week, that's a different situation. That's an emergency, and there may be different circumstances for that.
Right.
I do file some Chapter 13 cases on an hourly arrangement. Those are for people who just have unique situations, difficult circumstances. And we don't know how much the case is going to cost. Sure. And so a lot of those people will opt for an hourly arrangement just to make sure, they don't have to worry about getting charged every time I send them an email, or that my response isn't going to be long enough for their complexity of their issue, because we're on a flat fee arrangement.
Right.
So some of those people prefer that individualized attention, which is perfectly fine. And there are other ways to get paid for that.
Okay.
The other cool thing that you get to do in a Chapter 13 that you cannot do in a 7 is you can restructure those car loans. So a lot of my clients come in and they bought a car because they traded in an old car. They owed more money on it than it was worth. And so they roll those balances into a new loan.
Yes.
A lot of people do that.
Sure.
And before they know it, they owe $30,000 on a $10,000 car.
Yeah.
So in Chapter 13s, depending on when you bought the car, sometimes you can pay to value instead of the loan amount.
Right.
So you might be able to knock $20,000 off a car loan.
Yep.
And a lot of those $30,000 car loans are paying $500, $600, $700 a month.
Right.
Well, if you're in a Chapter 13 case, even if you don't qualify to pay to value, you do qualify to restructure the loan and pay the balance off over that 5-year period at a discounted rate of interest. Many of my clients come in and they are paying 15, 20, 25% on their car loans.
Right.
And they just can't manage it.
Of
They're
course.
just never going to pay the balances
Right.
off. And you get the trustee's rate. At this point, I believe it's below 5% in a Chapter 13 case. So it's kind of a no-brainer.
Manageable.
Even if you qualified for a Chapter 7, you could opt to file a Chapter 13 instead, because you want to keep your car, you need reliable transportation to get to work, and this is a way to make that car loan more manageable for you so you don't lose the car.